What up, world? What up, world? What up, world? Jermaine, man. I am DJ Double Dose, man, and we are coming at you once again with another episode of Double Dose of Reality Sports, man. You already read the title. You already know what this is about. Who wins the SEC? But first, before we even get into all of that, man, let's go ahead and let's discuss the elephant in the goddamn room, man. While I've been gone, while I've been away, I'm sure a lot of you have heard the talks. You've heard the statements from the SEC commissioner to the Big Ten commissioner, both saying what? They are on one accord, lock in step, and they are saying what? We are good. According to Brett McMurphy's report, Brett McMurphy is a stand-up guy. He's been in media for forever and a day. He knows his stuff. But according to Brett McMurphy, the SEC commissioner and the Big Ten both have pretty much said in so many words that we're good. We no longer want to add more members, and that's where it is. So I think a lot of people took that and they ran with it. They 40-yard dash ran with ha, especially a lot of the a lot of the SEC trolls were big. They was like, don't nobody want y'all. Y'all stuck, y'all suck, y'all don't provide no value. Now, let's unpack this. And let's talk about business, economics, legalities, and all of those things wrapped all into one. If the Big Ten or the SEC wanted FSU or Clemson, knowing that FSU and Clemson are both suing their current league or office or whatever you want to call it, if you're the Big Ten or the SEC, why in the hell would you come out and hit your wagon to that? I'm listening. Why would you come out publicly and say I want FSU or say that I want Clemson? Why would you do that? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense now, does it? The reason why it doesn't make a whole lot of sense is because as angry as the ACC is, you think for 1 minute, Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, and his lawyers and his team would not try to wham your ass for tampering? Come on now. You think for 1 second that they wouldn't be happy to lump you into this too? Not to mention, if you hit your wagon to this, guess what they're gonna do? More than likely, they're gonna try to sue your ass too, or try to put you on the hook for the exit fee. So the smart thing, if you're the Big Ten or you're the SEC, is to play it cool, say, hey, we good, we don't want them, whatever you got to say publicly. Meanwhile, the powers that be are talking to the other powers that be and letting them know, hey, once you get free, this is nothing new, which is crazy. I don't know how people ran with this story. It's nothing new. We've been saying this for over a year. Nobody is going to touch FSU right now until they get themselves out of their mess, meaning they get themselves free and clear, and I don't have to put up any money to assist you in doing so, or my name doesn't get caught up in any type of lawsuit that the ACC has against you and try to throw me into it as well. So, sometimes you just got to read. You got to read the writings on the wall. The Big Ten literally said this same exact thing after they added USC and after they added UCLA, before Oregon and Washington. They literally said the same exact thing. We're good with the members that we have, yada, yada, yada. They said the same exact thing. And when the opportunity presented themselves, what did they do? They acquired those assets. Nothing's going to be any different with this. The SEC, wink, wink, quote, quote, made a sly handshake, whatever you want to call it, with Texas A&M and told them they wouldn't add another team from Texas into the SEC. Guess what happened? When the opportunity presented themselves for them to acquire Texas along with Oklahoma, you think they gave a damn about Texas A&M kicking and screaming? No, they did not. Because when the opportunity and the time was right and they could seize the opportunity, they did that. They didn't care about what Texas A&M had to say or what they quote unquote told them. They didn't care. They wanted Texas and they wanted Oklahoma. And guess what they did? They added Texas and they added Oklahoma. So if you sit down and you believe for 1 minute that FSU and Clemson, and you might as well, even though they're silent right now, and North Carolina, if you think that those three brands don't have a home if, when, or whenever the ACC blows up, then you're playing yourself. So just know that this is a lot of smoke and mirrors. I mean, you have to understand that, and I think most of us do. But hey, man, it's media day. You gotta, as we say, we gotta talk about the elephant in the room, and you gotta say the certain things that you gotta say. Now, I did find it real funny how Sankey said that FSU was a disruptive partner. Meanwhile, you was okay with blowing up or almost, because they held on. They acquired some assets, they held on with almost blowing up a whole entire conference. But that's just hilarious, and that's just funny. I just wanted to lead the show off with that because I thought that, it needed to be addressed. I've been getting hit up about it, had a lot of questions about it. So there you go. Moving along. Now that Nick Saban is a part of the media, he got y'all a little riled up, didn't he? I mean, the man is in the media now. I mean, he is in the media now. He does have a job that he has to do. I mean, but the main thing that a lot of people, especially a lot of Bama fans, you got upset about, all up in arms at this man, like, oh man, how could Nick do us like this? How could he not pick us? How could he not pick us to make it to the SEC title game? It wasn't just him. It wasn't just him. I mean, if you go look at the preseason SEC poll rankings, they got y'all third. I mean, most have you third. When the total votes came and everything went the way that it was supposed to go, they have you third. So that's not nothing to sneeze at. However, going into the season, you do have a lot of question marks. You do. Texas' biggest question mark right now is, can they, quote unquote, survive an SEC schedule? I guess that's their biggest question mark, is can they survive an SEC schedule? And Georgia, even though, ironically enough, Georgia has after the season that they had, after the schedule that they had last year, they have one of the tougher schedules. Not Florida. It's not on Florida's level. We did a whole show about that. But jokes aside, I mean, Georgia has a tough schedule this year. There's no more. We all know. I mean, those of you have been living under, most of you that watch me, y'all diehards like I am, so y'all kind of already knew this. But like they say, every show is somebody's first. So for those of you who don't know, who have not paid attention in the offseason, who are just now getting yourself back ready for football season, the SEC is now divisionless. So meaning Georgia doesn't have the luxury of being on the East anymore, where their only tough person is one, whether it's, there's been years where it was Florida, there's been years where it's been Tennessee, whatever the case may be. They don't have that luxury this year. They don't. They actually have one hell of a damn schedule because they have to play Tennessee. They have to play Alabama. They have to play Texas, and they have to play Ole Miss. Those are, well, let's look at the preseason rankings. That is, Texas is 2, Bama is 3, Ole Miss is 4, and Tennessee is 7. So that is 4. Georgia's facing 4 of the top 7 teams predicted to finish in the top 7. They're facing 4. So for me, once I saw the outpouring cry that Georgia is by a landslide, like it's not even close. They are, of the votes, they literally received 165 first place votes. 165 first place votes. That's a lot of votes for them to outright finish number 1 in the SEC. Now, as we get deeper into the season, but since we're speaking on SEC Media Days and who wins, now I personally do have Texas and Georgia in the SEC title game. Could things happen? Will Lane figure it out? We'll see. I mean, Ole Miss has, I guess you would say, gone all in by their standards. Can they throw a monkey wrench in it? Will Nico be as advertised, and Tennessee be better than what some think they will be? LSU, what happens with them? You get what I'm saying? So it's like you got some storylines. It's not, I don't think it's not a slam dunk. Now, again, I do feel like, in my personal opinion, that is going to be Texas and Georgia in the SEC title game. But how they get there is going to be more intriguing than anything, simply because there's no, I'll go ahead and say it. It is what it is. Ain't nobody going undefeated in the SEC. That's not going to happen. Though, if I'm wrong on that, then I'll be wrong. You know, anybody want to double down on that, please feel free to hop in the comments and let me know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't see nobody finishing the SEC this season undefeated. So what does the SEC title game look like? And I think that right there is the nuance that is intriguing to me. But at the same time, I think people are overlooking when people say, well, can Texas come into the SEC and survive an SEC schedule? Well, with us knowing that there are 12 teams in the playoffs, with us knowing that the winner of the SEC is going to get a bye, Texas surviving may not look the same to you as what it's going to take for them to get to the SEC title game. Texas surviving could mean they have 2 losses and still make it to the SEC title game. Hell, the SEC could just beat each other all the way up, and you talking about a 3-loss Texas versus a 2-loss Georgia. I mean, it could be a number of things where it may not look the way that it has looked. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. So to say you don't think that they can make it through the schedule, well, they may not necessarily got to make it through the schedule unscathed or with 1 or 2 losses, because they could very well have 2 losses and still be where they need to be. And if they win, they're gonna, not only will they get in the playoffs, they'll get a damn bye. Hell, and if they only finish with 2 losses, they in the playoffs, whether they make it to the title game or not. 2 losses in the SEC, more than likely, is going to get you in the playoffs. More than likely, that's going to get you in there. So, for me, my big, and let's not, before I get off this, let's not forget Kirby with his comments about Dan Lanning and how he wished that he had the amount of resources, the unlimited resources that Dan Lanning has at Oregon. I found that to be fucking hilarious, because Kirby, we all know the whole state of Georgia is behind you. And you guys have done a phenomenal job at recruiting over the last, since you've been there. Hell, forget that last XYZ. Since you've been there, y'all have done a phenomenal job in recruiting. And I don't think that phenomenal job in recruiting has been without a war chest or without NIL or before NIL without you already know where I'm going with that. So I found that to be very hilarious. I will say this, my if I had to say somebody that's not being mentioned that could make some noise this year in the SEC, and I wouldn't be totally surprised if it happened, for me, it would be Elko at Texas A&M. Because let's be real, Texas A&M has had talent. Jimbo has had talent on that team. He just couldn't coach said talent. Sometimes a new voice, a new breath of fresh air, a new philosophy, some new schemes, some more control of the whole entire operation sometimes could change things. So I would not 1000%, I would not be surprised. Yeah, I would not be surprised if Texas A&M managed to make it to the SEC title game. I, I don't think they will, but that's just one of those things that I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. And also, don't sleep on Tennessee. Do not sleep on Tennessee. I say don't sleep on Tennessee from the standpoint of this. If Nico puts it together in his first year starting with Heupel and that system, our best is off. Because about a lot of the young guys that we got that's starting that's coming into their first year as complete starters, Nico was one of the ones I feel like has what he needs. He has the tools, he has the weapons, and he has the coach and the scheme. I think that that's more important than anything else. You can be the guy. Think about last year with Clemson. Everybody thought that Riley and Klubnik was going to be a match made in heaven. Damn, it was a disaster. So some fits just because you think it's going to work might not, especially in the first year of working together. But with Nico, I feel like he's set up for success. I think Tennessee, I wouldn't even think it really would be surprise some people this year. But if he gets it together in year one, Tennessee could be my other one. So outside of Texas and Georgia, if I had to give you not necessarily two teams to make it, but two teams that could make some real noise and one or the other were to make it, I wouldn't be 100% surprised. I would say Tennessee and Texas A&M. As far as Bama, I'm just waiting like everybody else. They have been recruiting their ass off. Now, you can say it's new Cosmel. You can say it's because Nick is still in the building. You can come with every quote unquote excuse you can come with. But the one thing you better come with to say is the board's closing them deals. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people. Y'all know me. Y'all know how I feel about Alabama, but when they do things right, I got to give them their credit. If I'm gonna diss them, I got to give them credit at the same time. Those guys are getting in the building, and he's closing them deals for now. Now, what happens on the field, we'll see if he can continue this momentum after what happens on the field. Not saying that they're gonna do. We don't know. We don't know. I mean, at the same token, we just seen this man take Washington with Michael Penix all the way to the title game. Forget the playoff, all the way to the title game. So I'm not gonna say what he can't do with Milroe. I was a fan of Milroe last year. Everything I said about Milroe last year, for the most part, came true. I told y'all to get a boy some time. And lo and behold, what happened? The season played out pretty much the exact same way I said it would. Said you would lose to Texas, but you would be in the SEC title game. And what happened? You lost to Texas, and you were where? in the SEC title game. Now, I didn't predict you to win the SEC title game now by a long shot, but you did. So I'm not gonna say what the boy can't do with Milroe. I'm just not gonna say it. I know a lot of people want to jump out the gym and say this, but no. I mean, if you remember, I think a lot of people they're forgetting Michael Penix, what he was before. I mean, this guy was around for a while. I mean, he was injury prone. He got hurt in Indiana. I mean, the list goes on and on. But the boy was able to turn him into something. Think about Jordan Travis. I mean, if you think about the way Jordan Travis went from one point to the next, I'm not going to sit around here and say what Milroe can and can't be with the boy. I'm not going to say it. I would not be. And I guess I don't want to say put Bama in the surprise category because, I mean, they are the third preseason. They're number 3 in the preseason rankings. So that lets you know most people, and especially if you go look at Bama's schedule this year, I know you facing Georgia. We all know y'all face Georgia every 50 years in the regular season. Outside of Georgia, I got into this argument with a guy before, man, LSU, you play them every year. Outside of that, you straight. You got a pretty solid schedule. You don't got Texas A&M this year. You don't got Ole Miss this year. Your non-con game is what, UCF and Wisconsin with Tyler Van Pick. So with the boy, I don't know what he's gonna do with Milroe, but this is one of those I'm not rooting for the team. You know me, Alabama could lose every game of the season. I wouldn't care. But I am pulling for Jalen. I am pulling for Milroe. I want to see this boy succeed and hopefully go on to the next level. Now, the next level, he's probably going to be a running back because the boy got some wheels. I don't know if he's going to be a quarterback, but you never know. Hey, the NFL is weird when it comes to drafting players, the combine, and all of that stuff. So, before we ended SEC Media Days, my early preseason pick right now before we get even deeper as we click over into August is Texas and Georgia. That's who I got. Sleeper pick would be Texas A&M. That's just me. And before I get out of here, this right here, man, you talking about having some motherfucking fun. I have been having a blast. I've been having a straight blast playing college football, man. It's been everything they pitched it to be. I have found it hilarious to hear all the man heads, how they had their gripes, and they be like, oh man, good. Take your ass back to Madden. Hey, I'm a Madden guy. I've been playing Madden this whole time, but I wanted this game to not be the exact same replica of Madden. I didn't want that. So, yes, is it some shit that happened in this game that frustrates the hell out of you? They dropping picks. They damn sure do. These broke tackles are a mess. However, this shit is fun as hell. Me and my partners, we had a tournament over the weekend, man. Shout out to my cousin Brad. I finished third. You know what I'm saying? I finished third. My homie Brad, my cousin, he actually won the whole thing, man. Me and my partners, we had a blast, man. It was just fun, man. So just seeing all the feedback and seeing everybody with their thoughts and opinions. And it's so funny. And I'm going to say this before I go. I told y'all can go back. You can go back and run the tape. I said, all of y'all asses that ain't been playing no football games, you ain't even been touched the console, thinking you was going to hop your ass on here and be how you was. What's happening now? Y'all getting y'all asses whooped. I done seen post after post. Oh, man, I ain't played it but a few times, but I'm doing get my ass whooped. Or, man, I must have outgrown it. I ain't into it like I used to. No, I told y'all this shit. I told y'all football games, video football games are completely different than what they were 10 years ago. And you thought you was gonna hop on this motherfucker and call a blitz and call 4 verticals and be successful. No, I told y'all that months ago. I told y'all that. Now y'all sitting around there getting mad around your old lady. She's sitting around there wondering why you upset because your ass sucked. But it's okay. Y'all know where to find me. I'm on the PS5. I am DJ Double Dose. Anybody that wants to smoke, I'm more than likely passing it out. And I'm doing it with FSU. And I'm doing it with FSU. So, with all that being said, man, appreciate you for rocking with me, man. I've been, actually, the title says it all. I am DJ Double Dose. I had 2 gigs back to back over the last couple of weeks, and I got a vacation next week. But after that, man, we're gonna be locked and loaded, man. I got 2 shows coming. I got this one, and I got one more coming up for you before I get ready to get out of here, man, before I go on my trip. So thank you for rocking with me. Always remember, we are on the Post Network, powered by Roku. So if you got a Roku device, make sure you download the Post Network app. And just remember, before we get out of here, man, live, laugh, and love, man. Live your life to the fullest. Love on the people that love you back, and find you something to laugh at each and every day. And I'm out.